Hey all, just wanted to make a quick video going over some of the maintenance that I've performed on this music box. There aren't many videos online about how to oil or grease one of these, so I figured I would be the one to make one. Now, keep in mind that I am no expert on these things. This is just what I've found that works for me from the information that I've been able to see online. So, first thing you're going to want to do, you're going to open up your box. This is a style 11, I believe, but it should be pretty consistent with most others. The main difference is that your box may have a speed control, which mine does not. So you're going to remove any disc that may be on the machine, just like that, and we'll set this guy over here. Okay, so usually what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and shut this because the first thing we're going to have to do is remove this base plate. So what you're going to do is you're going to remove these two wood screws, this one and this one on the left side, and these two screws, this one right here and this one on the right side. Okay, and then once those screws are removed, here's what you're going to want to do. It can be difficult to get a good grip of this thing. What I'll usually do is grab from the spindle here, get a good grip underneath, where there's lots of metal connecting. Don't grab it by the comb. Don't grab it by the arm. And grab it by the base over here, and you should be able to just lift it straight out of the box. So I'll go ahead and do that. So now with the base plate removed from the music box, you're going to have a better look at the driving mechanism that makes the whole thing work. You can do a lot of stuff from here, but personally I would also recommend removing at least this wooden plate as well. Now the way you're going to do that is you're going to take a small screwdriver and you're going to remove this screw holding the start-stop lever in place, and you're going to lift that out. It's just the lever and a little washer. Now this is keyed, which means you don't have to worry about it getting mistimed or anything like that. It just goes back on in the same spot that you took it off from. And then there are two small wood screws on this side. One here and two more on this side. Now, your specific box may have screws in different locations, but generally, most of them are very similar. Alrighty, I've turned the flash on for this one because it's a little bit dark in here. So, now that you've got that wooden plate and the start lever off, you have revealed the entire, or most of the clock spring assembly and the governor. So, again, I'm going to preface this by saying that I am not a clock maker. I'm not a music box repairman. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. This is going to be like the Dunning-Kruger effect, okay? I don't actually know much, just what I've found online and what I've found that works for me. So take it with a grain of salt. But, quick overview of how this works, okay? So, when you wind the music box, you're spinning that gray, wedge tooth gear. That is your ratchet. And there is a catch way back there, that guy. Here, let's see if we can get it on video. You can see it shifting slightly as you spin. So that is what is, so when you're winding the spring is inside of this big brass hunk right here. So when the music box starts, the spring is able to unwind, which spins this whole casing in this large brass gear here, which drives the conical gear here that, actually moves the music disc. And down there, it links up to the governor assembly. So, in this next part, I'm going to go over what we are going to oil and what we are going to grease. So first things first, let me show you what I like to use. This is Super Lube multi-purpose synthetic grease. It's synthetic, so it should last quite a lot longer. This box is about 120 years old. I hope it can go for another 120. And then just some generic clock oil. So first things first, I can't really do it. I've already greased this, so I'm not going to do it again. But here's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to take your grease, okay, and you're going to grease this large wheel here. What I found works for me was I would put down a large glob, and then while the music box is running, while the disc is spinning, let me go ahead and do that real quick. It's not great to do this super often. I mean starting it without a disc, because it needs that resistance. That's part of what governs its speed. but for short bits, it's probably okay. So I would put down a large glob of grease along here, and I would take a toothpick, and I would kind of let it ride along, spreading the grease. You can let it run for a while. You can kind of see the grease there, and then any excess I would wipe off the side, and that would let it get onto there, and it will get onto, there's another one, yeah, down there, okay? So that's where you're going to want to grease that guy. Next up, you're going to want to grease this ratchet wheel here. So I kind of did a similar thing, big glob of grease, and then I wound it all the way around to let it spread, and then I also stepped through, and I let it, I would click it once, and then let it sit in the gap. Click it, and then let it sit in the gap, so that every single gap on the wheel would have grease in it, if you get what I'm saying. Now, that's basically it for grease. Basically just these big gears. For oil, here's what you're going to want. The first thing is the governor assembly down here. Okay, back there, let me see if I can zoom in on it. Don't let my oil fall. Let me see if I can zoom in on it. That is your never-ending screw, your infinite screw. That worm screw is what actually drives the governor. You're going to want to get 1 drop of oil onto that. Some grease should have transferred to these 2 gears, but some oil wouldn't hurt. You're going to want to get some oil onto these pivot points where the wings of the governor spin. Those are what catch the air resistance and manage the speed of the music box. Just so those pivot points. Those pivot points are what are going to be important. So that's the main thing, but there's some extra stuff that I've also oiled. First of all, this right here, this is where the stop lever spins. I put a couple drops of oil around here, let it soak in, and that made it move much smoother. It's way easier to tell where the start and stop actually is when you do that. Secondly, anywhere where there is metal on metal pivoting contact. So I oiled there. I think I did it down there. I also oiled around here, wherever I thought there could be spinning. My flash turned off because my phone got too warm. Also in here, where the conical gear and that small brass rotate on top of that axle, you're going to want to spin there. And same on the opposite side. So that's the main stuff. I have also oiled the handle, just so it slides in and engages easier. Even got some here, so it'll spin nicely. Up here, these wheels, I have oiled underneath them. Now, an important thing is that generally you don't want to let oil get onto the discs, because then it can attract crap and dirt, dust, anything from the air, and it can eventually lead to rust, or so I'm told. That's just what I've heard online. So if you oil anything that is close to the disc, it's important to make sure that you wipe down, like these wheels, I wiped them down afterwards. Same on this side. So I oiled there and then wiped it down. Other than that, there isn't much else to oil. I don't know what these little pits are here. I thought they might be channels into the actual clock spring mechanism, like where the spring is inside of this casing. So I oiled there as well. I'm not sure if you have to do that, but I did. So yeah, that's basically all of the oiling I did inside of the box. So now I am going to put the last wood plate and the bed plate assembly with the combs back onto the box, and we'll continue from there. So I wanted to show you one last thing before I put the base plate back on. I forgot to mention this little hole right here. So these are your 2 screws. This hole, I believe, goes down into the axle that the ratchet gear rides on. So a drop or 2 of oil down there might be useful as well. Again, I'm not sure. I'm no expert, but that's what I did. It's also useful. I oiled these hinges here as well as the pivot arm for the lid. Over here on the front of the box where the lock is, just an FYI, you can remove this lock without damaging anything. There are 2 screws right here right there, that hold on this wheel, and then beneath them there are 2 more screws that secure this lock to the housing. You remove those and you can just take this whole thing out. And then when you have it out, it makes it really easy to analyze the mechanism. And like personally, I don't have it with me right now, but I filed down my own key that works on it. So that's how I got the measurements. And then now I am getting a nice key with those specifications. So yeah, could be useful to do that, up to you. Okay, so now with your base plate back in the box, again, I just lifted it down with the spindle and the arm post over here. You want to be very careful. These things are heavy. I wanted to show you this. The start-stop lever there, you can see how it's kind of keyed right there, okay? So like I was saying, this lever only fits on one way, just like that. It only fits on the one way, so you don't really have to worry about getting mistimed or misaligned or something when you're taking it off. And then there's a washer that goes on top of it, and then the screw itself. So I'll screw that in a moment. But the next thing I wanted to go over was the pivot arm and the comb assembly itself. So first thing, we'll go over the arm. I have oiled all of these wheels, not on the wheels, but where they ride on the shaft, and these guys too, these tensioning ones. So get some oil there where they ride on the shaft, and then wipe off any that got on the outside. Okay? Same thing with these ones, these pivoting ones. Now these, yeah, like I said, they pivot, so oiling right here as well can be useful, and where this hinges. Next thing, I took some alcohol and a cotton swab, and I cleaned off this platter and up here in that recess, because that is where the disc rides. Okay, and it can eliminate some squeaking from the discs. You're never going to eliminate all the squeaking because, I mean, this whole thing is metal on metal contact. There's going to be some. And then you can take some oil and you can just oil that general area. Same up here, anywhere where the disc might ride. You can also oil where this little catch pivots. It's right there. There's a hole there for it. Finally, the comb and the thing and the tines itself. Now, you shouldn't ever get oil on the tines because it can attract stuff that'll make them rust. It's just bad news. But these star combs, they ride on a looks to be a brass shaft, and now those can get gummy, so it can be good to oil those. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna want to get you're gonna want to get clock oil with a very thin needle that can get in between these star wheels, because you don't want oil on the star wheels because it'll transfer to the combs. To the tines. But if you can get oil between the star wheels where it can get underneath where they ride on the brass shaft, that's good. And then once you're all said and done, I would recommend wiping them down with a microfiber cloth anyway, just in case. Same with the conical gear over here. Just wipe it down once you're done, just to make sure that there's no remaining oil that can mess with the function of the box. So I'm going to screw this stop lever back in, and then get a disc on here, and we'll see how it's going. And that's all she wrote. Thank you everybody so much for watching this video. I'm not an expert on this, but I hope this helps nonetheless. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any, oh yeah, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. And if you are an expert on these and I did anything wrong or I'm missing anything, put that in the comments too, please, for my sake.